everyone, welcome back to Callie and Beans Books. I'm Brittany, and today I have my top reads of 2020. I couldn't narrow it down to just a top 5 or top 10 or anything like that, so I just decided to say top reads. And I do have a top series included for a series that I read in whole this year, and then I have 5 other books that I want to mention. So kicking it off is the top series that I read in full in 2020, and I was a little hesitant at first about this series. And of course, I am talking about Aquatar by Sarah J. Maas, and I still don't have my own copy of Aquatar itself, but I gave that one a 4 out of 5, and then the other two, Aquamath and Aqua War, I gave both of them a 5 out of 5. I absolutely adored this series. It was a little difficult for me to get into at first. I was a little hesitant, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. There's a lot of hype surrounding this series, of course, and it is very polarizing. Either you love it or you hate it. I'm just in the camp of I absolutely adore it and I absolutely love this series, but I do understand where people are coming from, where they don't necessarily love all the elements and love Sarah J. Maas's writing style. I just fell into the camp of loving it and dove right on into that fandom. Overall, the series was just amazing and definitely lived up to the hype that Callison's been giving it for a couple of years now, and I'm just so happy that I got into it and read it and can enjoy a lot of the little things that the series gives me. So going into my other top reads of 2020, I did read another series in whole. It was definitely enjoyable and I really did love it. So I'm talking about the Lunar Chronicles, and my favorite from the series was the finale, Winter. And this series is by Marissa Meyer, and I gave Winter a 4 out of 5. Overall, it was just one of my favorite finales I've ever read. It was really well done. It brought in all of the characters and all of their plot lines from the other 3 books and put it all together in a nice little bow, and it was so good. I really enjoyed the writing style and all of the climactic elements from all of the different plots coming together, and it was just amazing. There were a couple of moments where I'm like, we really didn't need it, or it just felt like it was drawn out, and some of the scenes were just a little too much for me, I think, but overall, I did really enjoy the story. So during my fairy tale retelling readathon that I did for myself, I'm not surprised that I found one book that I absolutely love, and this is definitely my favorite from that retelling readathon, and that is So This Is Love by Elizabeth Lim, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. It is a Cinderella retelling, and it takes place after the ball, after the glass shoe. However, Cinderella doesn't try on the shoe. The other one is destroyed, so she actually leaves and becomes a servant at the castle. You can figure out what's going to happen, so there is the predictability to the story, but every fairy tale is predictable. Gotta admit that. It's just how we got from point A to point B was so well done. The writing style is so magical and simple at the same time. It's not complicated, and I definitely enjoyed how light and fun the story was, while still having a little bit of that dark twist to it. And overall, I just absolutely love this story and definitely recommend it. My next top read of 2020 is All the Stars and Teeth by Adalyn Grace. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I absolutely loved this story from beginning to end. There were moments where it was just so intense that I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And I love that about a story. I love when it can just take my interest and just make me want to read it in one sitting. Of course I didn't. It took me a couple days because I'm a slow reader, but I absolutely loved it. The magic system is super unique. There were moments where I was a little confused on how it works exactly. The only other thing I didn't really like about the story was the way it ended to set up for the second one. There are very few things that I can say that I didn't like about the story. The main characters are amazing. They all bring special things into the story, and their wit and dialogue was just so well done. I love the writing style, and it's just amazing and definitely one of my favorites, and can't wait to continue with the duology next year. My next top read of 2020 is another series finale, and that is Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, and I gave this a 5 out of 5. Another polarizing series for sure, and it's really hard to talk about because there's so many things I could say, but there are so many spoilers by saying what I absolutely loved about this story. It was the perfect ending to this series, and I absolutely adored it. So the final book that I want to talk about for my top reads of 2020 is Muse of Nightmares by Lani Taylor. This is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer, which I enjoyed but hated the ending. So jumping into Muse of Nightmares, I was really nervous to see where it was going to go. But when I was doing my top reads of 2020, this book was one of the first to come into my mind because of how well done the sequel was. And I adored the characters. There was so much character development, which I wasn't anticipating. I was anticipating the characters just to keep doing what they were doing, but there was a lot more development to the characters seeing where their flaws were and accepting those flaws instead of just dismissing them and moving on with their lives. It was wonderful. We have compromises that I wasn't anticipating. There was some predictability. There were moments where I'm like, oh yeah, of course this is going to happen. But there were also moments that just stunned me and took me aback and were like, whoa, what just happened? Overall, it continued with the amazing descriptive imagery from Strange the Dreamer, kept building on the world, which I wasn't anticipating at all, and gave me all the answers I needed. I absolutely adored Muse of Nightmares and definitely recommend Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares for anyone that has some time, because it is quite a lengthy read. It just goes by really quickly. You don't even realize that you're reading such a large book. So overall, those are my top reads for 2020 from YA fantasy. I do have a top reads for adult romance coming out next week. I wanted to split them up just because I put together a top 10 and realized half were YA fantasy, half were adult romance. So I figured I'd split it up because not everyone is a huge fan of adult romance, so I wasn't going to spend a bunch of time with this video going through the adult romance. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that little bell icon to be notified when we post new videos. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And head over to Goodreads and Instagram. All of our links will be in the description below. Until next time, bye!